Hello, good evening everyone. It's really exciting to stand here on the stage, and this is actually a very great view. I'm going to be very honest with you from the beginning. My introduction will probably be a bit more different and quite explicit, a little bit X-rated if you will. And if you read my title, then probably a lot of you are frightened of this question. But I'm going to ask it anyway. Who of you ever had a one-night stand? Come on, don't be afraid. Okay, so I see some smile in your faces. I see some people that really are thinking back of that memory, and I'm happy that I could deliver that for you. But also see some people that are a bit more doubting, that are a bit more afraid. And then I see a third group of people, and this third group maybe doesn't know what I'm talking about or doesn't really want to know what I'm talking about. But that's no problem. I'll take my time and I'll try to explain what a one-night stand is, because you will see that this metaphor will be used as we go along in my presentation. First of all, a one-night stand is a special event. It's some kind of a momentum. So it's a special event, but in another way, it's a very simple, a very elementary build-up. And I'll take you through this one. First of all, of course, you meet somebody. You meet somebody new, you meet somebody excited. And besides food, there's probably quite some drinking involved. In most cases, there's a lot of drinking involved. But the night proceeds and you start dancing, there's some music, it really gets fun. There's a high energy. And at a certain point, you realize that you're on the same pace. You realize that you have the same energy. You realize that there's some kind of, as I said, a momentum. But it's more than talks. A one-night stand is not just about talks. There's a sexual build-up. Step by step, this sexual tension becomes bigger until the moment where, you reach a climax. And if you're really lucky, you reach two. Okay, fun part done. I'll quickly take you to a time hop. 5-6 hours later, you wake up. Different story. Your mouth is dry, you have a headache, you really feel different. And you look to your right, you look to your left. She's not there. She's actually gone. You just realize that you're all alone. You SMS her. You send a text message, you call her, you go on LinkedIn, on Facebook, all of the channels, but there's no response. There's only utter silence. Next time hop, 5-6 months later, you meet your friends, your partners in crime, the people that really put you through all this. And when you get together, you have a few drinks, and they come with a new question. They ask you the question, did you ever meet her again? Do you know what happened to her? Did you have the chance to speak with her? Did you have a chance to meet her again face to face? Do you actually know what she is doing? And then you think, you step back, and you think about all the text messages you said, all the calls, and you have to admit, I don't have a clue where she is. I completely lost track of her. And this is where I really want you to stand still for a moment and think about that, because I'm going to switch from storytelling to something deadly serious. I've been talking about one-night stands, and it's a fun thing. And basically what it is, it builds up tension. You go step by step, you go to a sexual peak, and then all of a sudden it plummets. It's something what we call the Souffle Effect. And we see this Souffle Effect, we see it in innovation nowadays, because innovation is such a hot topic. Everybody's talking about it, everybody wants to do it, and everybody wants to do it fast. And if you would be a CEO today, innovation would be amongst the top 3 priorities. Because if it wouldn't, you would be a bit strange. You would be very different than other CEOs. But what we see is that innovation is currently handled from a very much standpoint as an event business. It's entertainment, it's a one-night stand, and I'll quickly explain how we observe this today. I'll take you to a short story. If you would be a CEO, you probably would group your management team together, and you would send them on an offsite, probably to the Ardennes. And you would have a very expensive consultant to join them. You would pack a bunch of Post-its, put them on the table, and you will start building a team atmosphere. And the people, they will grow closer together. and they will dream where their company could go in 2 or 3 or 4 years. And post-its go on the wall, ideas grow. And when you end these exercises, you can end up with 350 ideas. A customer of ours did an innovation day, global. 350 ideas were on the table. Then those people go back to their jobs. And on Monday, they realize that they have a number of emails piled up of their normal work, their day-to-day job. They go back to meetings they missed. They check in with people. And 4 to 5 months later, they look back and they think, we really had a really nice management team back in the Ardennes. Remember that the CFO got drunk. Yeah, that's true, that was really good. And what did we do with those ideas? And then in most cases, it's really silent. Because those 350 ideas are probably on somebody's desk and nothing is happening. And this is what we're struggling with. This is where I want to take a next step and say that innovation requires a strategy. If you consider innovation to be an event business, entertainment, inspiration, then you don't have value. And this is where I want to get your attention with 3 pragmatic tips, 3 pragmatic pointers. And the first one will be a very specific guideline. The second one will be a bit more on the organization and process level. And the third one will be more on how you look at innovation and what a belief is, what is a kind of philosophic note at the end. The first one, you need to think beyond the post-it exercise. If you look at innovation of just being a brainstorm, then you end up with nothing. Innovation is about execution, and of course, those brainstorms are fun, and it's really exciting to be in one room and to grow closer together. But what you really want to have is execution power. You want to realize stuff. Because in the end, if you get a good idea, it doesn't get you a medal. You do not get a prize for a good idea. Actually, and this is very straightforward and blunt, a good idea is worth nothing. You can ask legal, it's worth nothing. But what you do need is execution power. You want to make things happen. So what I want you to do is before you initiate yourself in an innovation program, before you start off on these inspiring tracks of building the new company, is that you think on execution. You should pre-think what you're capable of doing. 350 ideas, impossible. Why don't we make 3 and deliver on 3 and really execute them? So when I normally introduce this, I get some questions from the audience and they say, okay, Philip, we got the message. We need to think, we need to be prepared, and we need to consider what we're capable of doing. Makes sense. But I have a problem. And the problem is that my organization is not capable of working with these ideas and getting them towards execution. And this is where I want to discuss my second tip. And this is what we're doing actually at our core. We are institutionalizing innovation. So this brings me back to the process and organizational side of innovation. If I would ask you who's got a full-time job or who is about to engage in a full-time job, normally all of the hands go up. And if I then ask for who of you a full-time job means working more than 9 to 5, all of those hands go up as well. And this is where I'm actually challenging that if you're working as a performance engine, which is everybody working in the company, delivering on sales, delivering on targets, and really executing your job function, and we add those 350 ideas, when are you going to deliver? And this is really the bottom line. We realized from experience that you cannot match short-term performance. A lot of you are customer-facing as well. Short-term performance to match that with long-term innovation. It's almost impossible. Not only from a capacity level, but also from mindset. Consider this one. Innovation, very vague. You know, you think where you're heading, but you'll probably end up in that way. It's about being comfortable with the uncomfortable. Very different than being efficient and highly performant at a specific task. And this is where we introduced something new to help companies build and gain execution power. And this is something you already know. We call it a year cycle. And a few weeks from now, you see these year cycles popping up in companies, and I'll briefly explain that. Within a few weeks, probably marketing will start doing their research. Marketing will start doing their research to build their marketing plan 2017. And as from July and August, the sales teams will start working really hard on using these marketing insights to build their sales plan 2017. Because by September and October, a lot of companies are building their budgets. So finance is setting targets for the sales and the strategic plans of 2017. So already in companies, there's a certain rhythm to things that occur every year and go around and around. What we see and that we're really doing at the moment with companies is building an innovation rhythm. And that allows us to work with companies and to deliver execution power. And we do this with three main angles. And it's a bit more complex than what I'm showing here, but I just want to give you a very tangible view of what we're doing. The first layer is that we're thinking about continuous innovation. There is continuous change out there, so we implement continuous innovation. And in a way, we're helping a focused, dedicated innovation team. And we come by every week with Innovation Fridays, and we coach people how to get along with their ideas, how to build execution. Besides this continuity, we focus on a second layer, and this is speed. Speed is really, really important. If we would just do the first one, these innovation engines, they would take years and years to deliver. We build in hackathons, we build in work sessions, we build in very focused sessions where we get together 20 people to deliver within a week on a new strategy. And the third one is also crucial to innovation. Innovation and inspiration comes from the outside in. It comes from different markets. And this is where we get insights from outsides. We fuel this innovation engine. And we get this thing turning year after year. And we see companies that invest in this way for 2 to 3 years, that they really get the execution power they need. I've been talking about what you should do before you start an innovation. I've been talking about institutionalizing innovation. And the last one is about how I look at innovation today. What I truly believe is that the companies of the future that will survive will be the companies that will be the most responsive. One thing I know for sure is that it's impossible to predict the future. 2 years ago, probably there was somebody here on stage talking about Google Glass. 1 year ago, there was somebody who was talking about how Apple Watch would change the world. And we all know that Google Glass and currently Apple Watch is not going in the direction where we thought it would go. Meaning that it's impossible to predict the future. Nobody of us can say what will happen in 2 to 3 years. But if I would be a CEO of a company, I would invest in making my company ready and responsive and agile for whatever that comes along. And this means that you need to invest in your organization. This means that you need to look at your organization and just drill it down to different pieces. And a big part of that is people. It's people that lead your company, people that manage your company, and people that work there. If they don't have the capability to deal with continuous change, they will never build that responsive company that you need. If the leadership of today cannot let go of their normal behaviors of controlling things and steps towards a new way of leadership, which is the art of letting go and letting people thrive within their environment, then you will face very difficult times. And this is where I end my presentation, and I hope that you have realized that the complexity of innovation is big. It's very layered. And I hope also that you've realized that innovation is about continuous change. It's about continuous innovation. It's about an innovation engine. And with this topic, I feel that innovation is truly an art of change. Thank you very much.